Hello, and welcome to the formatting numbers lesson. Whenever you're working with a spreadsheet, it's always a good idea to apply the number formats to your data whenever possible. This is important, especially when calculating figures in Excel. When you enter data in a cell, Excel tries to guess what format should be applied to your data. Oftentimes, this info is right, but occasionally user intervention is required. There are multiple formatting options available. Today we will review these options, including default number formats, formatting number options, applying number formats, and custom formats. So join us in this next lesson. I'd like to begin by showing you where to locate your tools. Let's start by going to the Home tab in the Numbers group. Here you will see other icons related to formatting numbers. Let's click the drop-down arrow. Here you will get a pop-up box titled Format Cells. We will be working in the Numbers tab. Okay, so you can scroll through the categories. You will see the individual category formatting options available for formatting different types of numbers. Okay, so now let's go ahead and cancel out of this, and I will show you another way to access this tool. Let's go ahead and click inside of a cell. Let's say B5. Then let's do a right click and say Format Cells, and this opens up into the box that we just reviewed. Okay, so let's go ahead and cancel this and get started on our lesson. So what we're going to be doing today is formatting different numbers based on what the cell to the left of the number is asking for. For instance, cell C5 is asking for this number to be formatted into accounting. Cell C6 is asking for currency, so on and so forth. So let's begin by placing our mouse inside of cell C5. Now let's go up to our drop down, and this time we're going to go ahead and just get accounting. And as you can see, when we clicked inside of the cell, it now has an accounting format. Let's click inside of cell C6 and let's get currency. Okay, so now the difference between the two is the placement of the dollar sign. As you can see with accounting, the dollar sign is to the far left, and with the currency, the dollar sign is closer to the numbers. Okay, cell C7 is asking to be formatted in a number, so let's go ahead and get our drop down and just say number. Cell C8 is asking to be formatted as a date. Let's see what that looks like. Let's get our drop down and say short date. And so as you can see, it now reflects a date. And that date is February 8th, 2020. Okay, so let's look at this custom option. And here we're going to just play around with a few figures. I want to make this a accounting figure, but then I think I want to go ahead and remove the decimals. Then I want to change it to currency. And I'm going to remove the decimals again. Next, I think I just want to change the number altogether. Let's make it 8100. And as you can see, it remains in the formatting that you assigned it. So regardless of if you change the number, the formatting will still apply. So let's change this to 15,000 for instance. Okay, so as you can see, it's still currency, but it's a different number. So the formatting is assigned to the cell, not the actual value of the cell. Okay, all right, so next I would like to move into the date and time format. Let's start by looking at what this cell is calling for. So cell F5 is asking it to be changed into a long date. F6 is asking to be changed into a short date. F7 is asking for a long time format. And F8 is asking for a short time format. Then finally, when we get down to F9, we're going to format our date in a custom value, okay? So let's begin. Let's go up to cell F5 and let's see what our options are. Let's go ahead and get the drop down arrow. Let's say date. And so we're looking for a long date this time. I'm going to go ahead and picked this one. I'm going to say OK. Now let's click inside of cell F6. This time we're looking for a shorter format. Let's get our drop down. Now you can hit this from the arrow. You can hit the format cells from here, or you can click it from more number formats. Okay, so it opens up into the same box, whichever avenue you take. So I'm going to look for a short date format. This is pretty short. Now this just gives me the date. This just gives me the month and the date, and it removes the year. That's fairly short, and I think I'm going to go with it. Okay. Now let's look at cell F7. It's asking for a long time. Let's go into the number group. And I think I like this one because that's fairly long. I'm just going to say OK to that. All right. And now we just need a short time format, and then we can move forward into our customization. And I think I'll go with this one for my short time format. All right. So here we have a long date, a short date, a long time, and a short time. So let's select F9 and let's go into our number drop down. Let's go into custom. And here you have some options for formatting your date. I like this one. And this gives a month and a year. So it would end up looking like this. Now, in order to customize, what I'm going to do is just change the format of the year. I'm going to back 2 characters out, and I will just end up with March 20th. Okay. All right. So that's just a general, very basic idea of how you can customize. And you see all the different formats that are available to you. So you can actually search the list to see a format that you like. And if you don't, then you can always play around with the options to customize your own. All right. So now let's move into our final section. We are going to play with these. We're going to look at column I, and we're going to make the changes based on what column H is calling for. Let's put our mouse inside of cell I5, and this is asking to be changed into a percentage. Let's do that. Now we can either click the icon percentage directly, or we can get it from our drop down. Here I'll go ahead and take the drop down. And then I'm going to go to I6, and this is asking to be changed into a fraction. So I'll get my drop down, and I'll change it into a fraction. Okay, here's a figure that's 30%. So it's already a percentage according to the drop down. And this is asking us to change it into a text. So let's change it to text. Okay, so as you can see, it aligns us to the left because the text is aligned to the left, whereas the numbers is aligned to the right. All right, now let's go to the next one, which you have a fraction here according to the drop down, and it's asking to be changed into a percentage. So let's do that. Okay. Now I want to go ahead and remove my decimals. So let's go ahead and say decrease decimal, and I'm left with 50%. Okay. Next, I'm going to do my scientific format. I'm going to place my mouse inside of I9. I'm going to get my drop down, and I'm just going to select scientific. Okay. So here's the final results, and we've made all the changes as suggested by the cell to the left. Now I do want to remind you again that the formatting is according to the cell, not the value. So let's just go through this one more time. Let's look at accounting. Let's go ahead and make this change, and we'll call this 85,000. And this should remain accounting despite the fact that we're changing the value. Okay. So when I click back inside of that cell, it's still accounting. Okay. Let's go into my long date, and I'm going to change the value to January 1st, 2020. I'll make January 1st, 2020. And then I'm going to go ahead and click enter, and it should put the formatting back in that long format that I selected. And it does. Okay. So that's just a way of showing you that the formatting is assigned to the cell and not the actual value of the cell. So that wraps up this lesson. I hope you find this information helpful, and I will see you in the next video. So that wraps up this lesson from Microsoft Excel. I hope that you are getting the most out of these level up lessons. Please do let us know if you have questions or concern. Take a break if you need to, and we will see you in the next video.